Everyone, welcome to the Global Migrant Festival 2020. A very warm welcome to all those that's tuning in all over the world. We're just about to start our session with very important and incredible guests. Just an introduction for those of you that are new to the Global Migrant Festival community. We actually started the Global Migrant Festival. The first one was actually in 2018, where the festival sought to provide a platform for broader, critical and human-centric perspectives and dialogues on migration. So I think this year, this kind of conversation become exceptionally important as we are facing new challenges in this collective future. So with this session, we've invited acta, a leading theatre group all the way from UK. So, when I was reading through their bio and about the work that they've done over 35 years, this truly touched me because they believe that theatre belongs to everyone and how everyone has a story to tell. I really love how acta is doing the best to create a place where everyone's stories matter and enabling communities to share stories and engage audiences who rarely attend theatre. So it's very different from the usual kind of theatre that all of us would be used to, especially in Singapore. So let me just introduce this very important guest that I have with me. So do say hi, so I don't want to be the only person talking. Firstly, we have Neil, who's the artistic director and founder of acta. It's our privilege to have you today with us. Say hi.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, and we have Rosalie as well, who's the projects director with acta. Hi, Rosalie.
Hello.
Hi, and we have Hiba, who's an acta associate. I have so many questions for you. I can't wait. Hello.
Hi.
And Ingrid as well, who's the associate director for acta. Hey, Ingrid, thanks for dialing in all the way from UK.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So, I think we're going to start with introducing our community, what acta is about and its impact that all of you have created. So I'm going to start with the tough question first for Neil, since you're the founder. So Neil, share with our community what is acta, and especially I'm very curious to know what drove you to found such an organization and theatre group.
Well, as a young person, I was always very interested in theatre, but there was never a way in. I come from a disadvantaged background, working class background in the Midlands, in the industrial heartland of the UK. And way back then, in the 60s, it was very difficult for working class people to get into theatre, and it wasn't really something that was it felt like it wasn't really meant for us. So I think I sort of carried that through my early life. I was personally involved in a community play in 1981. I was a businessman at the time. That experience of working with people from all different walks of life to put on a play, and there were about 120 people in the play, was a real life-changing event for me. And it was after that I started to think about, because that was the community play was very much a sort of one-off, but there wasn't really an opportunity for people to make theatre. So I sort of was doing some freelance work, and then came up with the idea of a company which would help people to tell their own stories through theatre, and essentially, and most importantly, to make their own theatre. So not to do a version of something, a play someone else had written, but to make a play that said the things that they wanted to say about their own lives. And I think that's the essential thing about acta more than anything else, is that originality, is that every single play we have ever produced has been created by the people in it. We don't have a writer who comes in and sits and writes it. People write it, and we sit there and we listen to what they say in their improvisations, and that forms the backbone of this play that is put on. Does that answer your question, Vivian?
Yes, that I think you answered it so perfectly. It's, and I like how you said that you were a businessman first, right? But this love for theatre, and then, it was a very personal sort of gap that you saw. It's like you wanted to be part of it, and like there were no such medium back then, and then you decided, hey, let's do it ourselves. That's incredible. I think it's stories like that really shows the whole authenticity behind the founding of an organization like that. So Hiba, like Neil has been around with acta for 35 years. I want to know of your experience as well. How do you know about acta, and what was your journey like?
So I first knew about acta when I was involved in a kind of children's group. So I have two children who were very young at that moment. It's about 4 years ago. And I used to take them to a local play group just to have fun and meet other children. And it was a time for me to have a break and meet other parents. And then Rosalie and another colleague from acta, they came and they offered us a kind of a drama workshop, which was aimed at engaging the local moms in creative writing, in sharing stories, and in doing some kind of fun games and activities. So I was really kind of amazed by this very different approach that I've never seen before. At that point I had newly come from Sudan, so and I was a bit feeling homesick, and I really wanted anything that would kind of remind me of my life in Sudan. So I thought drama would be the best way to kind of ease off my homesickness. And I did my degree in Sudan in French language, where I was a really active participant in all kinds of cultural activities. And I used to write sketches in French language, and, I was really involved in all sorts of cultural activities. So when I found out about this drama session, I felt, this is something that I would really be interested in joining in. And since then, I have been involved on so many different levels. So I was a participant, I was a board member, and I have trained as a drama facilitator, and I'm now facilitating a drama workshop with Rosalie.
Wow, so that's impressive. I need to learn how you're converting participants to in the end be so part of your organization. And I think that says a lot about the whole vision that all of you have in acta as well, for participants of being viewers and consumers of the art form to want to be part of it, and giving back and then being part of the organization. So I want to check in with Rosalie and Ingrid, since Hiba also mentioned working with you, Rosalie. I know that it's very hard to summarize acta's works and impacts in so many years, in like 35 years. but I'm going to put it as a challenge, because I think it'll be impossible to shrink down, right, 30 years of works into an hour discussion. So what would you, how would you summarize it? You know, like it's just like in TED, right, where we talk about idea worth spreading, or like Twitter, where we can tweet a sentence out of it. So what would that be if you were to summarize actors' works and impacts? Anyone first, like Rosalie or Ingrid, anyone?
I would say that it's life-changing and empowering, that it, for whoever gets involved, it's a life-changing process, that they come from knowing nothing about theatre to creating something that they feel complete ownership of, to leaving feeling that they've got their voice heard, and they're very proud of what they've created, and people have listened to them and they've created something very special in the process.
What about you, Rosalie?
There you go.
No, you can't do the retweet button. I'm sorry.
I think I would follow on from that is by saying, you know, our belief is that theatre is for everyone. So our aim is to make theatre accessible, and to enable those unheard and untold stories to be told and to be heard, but most importantly, to be told by the people that have experienced those stories.
Thank you. That's beautiful. Like, Neil, anything to add? I'll give you an opportunity to add on, just in a short sentence.
No, haven't got a thing to add. I think that's what actor is in a nutshell. And yeah, I think that just following on what Ingrid said is one of the things that has kept me doing it for such a long time, is to see the way that people grow through the process, and also their absolute joy at the end of it, when they perform and realise this massive obstacle they thought they could never do actually happens. I mean, I've often said in the past that we attempt the impossible at actor and then ask people to help us achieve it. And I think that is, that sense of achievement is something that it's very difficult to get in any other circumstance. And also, one of the things that I think particularly about actor is you bring together people who wouldn't normally spend any time with each other. That it's very much about people learning to make friends and connections with people who aren't in their normal circle of friendship. And I think that's really important.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I have so many more questions about, all the current projects that all of you are leading. But before that, for the audiences that are listening in, for the community that's listening in, to summarize, we have prepared a short video. Actors prepared a short video which we would be showing. So just for a sneak peek, this is like a short sneak peek on the amazing, incredible work that they've done over the last 35 years. So, and then we'll come back and grill more questions from, all of them. Okay, so yes, please do stay with us. We'll be back with more questions for the team right after this video.
React is a project which brings together acta community theatre from the UK, CSC from Palermo in Sicily, and Rotterdam, Rates Theatre here in Rotterdam. It was a response to a call out from Creative Europe last year. It uses community theatre, 3 different models of community theatre, as a way of bringing together people from refugee and host communities in order to develop understanding, develop a dialogue, and to promote integration.
ولا يكون عنا كهرباء ولا جوع ونعيش ما يعرف حدا فينا.
It took us a lot of effort to make a presentation for the ICAF.
We lost everything. Where are you from, man?
I'm from Damascus.
Damascus?
Yeah.
It was a really nice city, man.
I'm from Aleppo.
Aleppo! Yo, man.
The 3 boys from the ICAF, they said, we don't want to play anymore because we feel a little bit ashamed. We're afraid that people will film us, put it on YouTube, they see it in Syria, and they will laugh at us.
So we start to think, what's happening? What are the questions and what are the answers?
We came up with 3 questions. What's the best moment to ask refugees to engage in your project? Is that when they arrive in Holland? Or is it when they live for 2 years in Holland? And what about the Asylum Seeker Center? The second question is, what kind of story will you tell? What kind of story can you tell? And also, what story is the theatre maker looking for? And the third question is, in what kind of tradition, what kind of theatre tradition or theatre style are you making this show?
It was a difficult process and we learned a lot from that. We decided to start a second project with a group of refugees together with a group of local inhabitants. And if you talk about integration and getting a dialogue and get to know each other, the second start was a better one.
I made a workshop and after I made a performance with some refugees and immigrants and we work with just like 15 people and in the performance not all the people want to do, but we respect it because for us a workshop is something that has to give them a new freedom, a new way for speaking, for telling their stories.
Addio mio via e viaggio, addio madre mia, addio mia terra.
In the first part of the process, they are just a little afraid, they are shy, but after, step by step, day by day, they become to be trust, they open themselves. We speak about React. We speak about the goals of React because I think that it's very important that the people that come as to be conscious why you are here and why I ask you to come here. So I don't worry if there is something that is bad at the moment. It's important that you do something for born again. I am really proud of them because they put all their energy now without eating. So maybe the energy, they can take their energy from another place, and we want to see this place one time.
What do you do with money?
I just want to buy some textbooks.
You buy textbook? Okay, I give you, don't worry.
We are telling the parents to ask their own children what they want instead of pushing something that they don't want.
Yasmin, move. Move.
I think it's important for us to be in the show together because as a mother group, because usually we are so busy with our daily lives that we don't get time for ourselves. And being in a group, we make new friends and we get to know about different cultures and everything. On top of that, it brings my confidence and other people's confidence back.
I am really sorry.
At the beginning, we do drama games and activities to help participants loosen up and break the ice and feel confident and have fun. We start ending each session with games and activities that are focused on storytelling.
Hello, Jabal. How are you? Okay. I am Muhammad. Do you remember me?
With community theatre, it's a different way of learning. It's not necessarily saying, "Hey, we're learning English today." We're having fun, and at the same time as that, they're improving their communication skills. I definitely recommend it to lots of people because we have genuinely seen the impact it's had on these guys' lives, and actually the audience who come as well.
Forget about circumstances, forget about journey, forget about trouble. These are people who want to talk about neighbors, and that's it. And it's much easier for you to accept and integrate, and I'm using the word integrate for host communities, integrate with your neighbors from different backgrounds, if you move away from that one-dimensional narrative.
I am really pleased to just join and be a part of it. I'm really excited and enthusiastic to go forward, and I'm now looking forward to start that at the theatre on 21st. Hello, Ali.
Oh, you work with Jamal?
Yes.
Why you tell me before you still gone, so...
Des asked Tony, "Where are you from?" And Tony was like, "Oh, have a guess, where do you think I'm from?" And then we had that little of, this is like, where is this going? And then we just kind of started talking about it, like, oh, so where are you from? Like, you know, what defines where you're from?
It is very difficult when you're talking about people's personal lives and what they have been through to make it, you know, sound funny. If you tell someone like who doesn't know what happens in the Home Office, you know, it's just the people themselves are like, seriously, they ask you these questions?
Thank you for choosing
Refugees are most welcome here.
I appreciate the fact that we have different cultures, different languages, different skin colors, but at the end of the day, we are all human. We are all the same, and that's what we should look for.
They rejected you, Kareem.
Rejected?
I'm really, really sorry. I think having refugees and asylum seekers representing their own realities on stage is a really radical act of kind of resistance against the silencing that is so kind of structural in this country.
The access to qualification position community board, unfortunately.
Performance and theatre is something really different, is more engaging because you kind of face to face with the audience and there is no barrier, and I think is a very useful tool, is it therapeutic.
Believe in yourselves, believe in your powers, and dream big!
It's been very inspiring and interesting, all the discussions actually that has come out of the place.
What are the things that make people vulnerable? Often it's not an inherent vulnerability, it's the system.
I like to see more refugees participating in a higher level.
In Germany, the word refugee is out. You're not allowed to use it anymore.
These conversations are difficult and it is sensitive, but they need to happen, and this is exactly what I feel like React is about.
As soon as you hear the story and as soon as you meet, the distance between you is not that big anymore.
When people go away from a community play, they start thinking.
I felt like I need to go now and do something.
It's about learning from other different cultures as well. It's the makeup of the world, so why are we not hearing these stories?
If you talk about integration and getting to know people, theatre and working together in a theatre project does that to everybody.
My children keep asking me, Dad, why you don't talk about your childhood? It's a painful memory that you shared. I don't want to go back and remember all that. So I want to look forward.
The arts give them that possibility to have the voice, to be heard, and then later to imagine their futures and to build on their futures.
There are some people who make music, we all have instruments and we play together and it's just about this, being together, having fun, and we are a group.
Theatre is for everybody, we can make it together. You don't need to be like a professional writer to make a piece of theatre, and it's absolutely doable and enjoyable.
Okay, now back from the video. So I think that was a really nice introduction of what acta has done. So I'm gonna dive to ask Rosalie and Ingrid. Neil, you can chip in as well. On what is the creative vision behind acta's projects? Rosalie, you're the project director and currently leading Rapport together with Hiba as well. I think that project stood out to me a lot since it's also an ongoing project right now. So where do you get your inspirations from? Maybe you can share with us Rapport's story and vision.
So Rapport was a project that came out of React, so the film that we just watched. And one of the challenges we had during the React project was the theatre shows we were working with migrants and refugees. And what happened is when we had the festival that was based in Bristol, actually our partner organisations really struggled to be able to bring over these members of their groups because they didn't have the status and they weren't able to. So we thought, how can we do a project then that doesn't rely on us having to get different people to travel to different countries, but we can still create a project together. So Rapport came about because it was going to be, so we're working with 3 other organisations. So one based in Poland called Theatre Grodzki, and they are artistic approaches, puppetry. Then we've got Tanta Rentana, who are based in Barcelona, and they're much more dance-based and creative writing. Then we've got Histori Veritana, and they're based in Sweden, and they are much more based on digital arts and filmmaking. So how this project is working is there's 4 of us organisations, and we are each working with our own group. So the groups are integrated groups with people who have been born and lived in Bristol all their lives, or the country they're based in. And there was a combination with refugees and people from different migrant communities. So you've got a really diverse group of people from all over. And in the first year of the project, they were to each make their own performance. So that's sort of year 1. And year 2 is the idea we're going to make this theatre performance all together without having to travel between the countries. So the aim of the project was that the facilitators would go to these different countries to learn about these artistic approaches. We'll bring them back, share it with our group members, and we'll create this show all together. However, with everything that's happened with COVID-19, we've had a new spanner. So rather than last year with React and it actually being the refugees and the asylum seekers who are unable to travel, now no one has been able to travel. So it's been a really interesting aspect to the project, which I think is a really eye-opening, quite fascinating with what's happened. So the aim of the project now is we've actually had all the training, but actually we've done everything online. And we're at the moment, we're trying to decide how are we going to create this performance all together with possibly people not even be able to meet face to face in their own countries.
I think that's definitely a very real problem. Please do share with the community when you guys are done experimenting, and I'll be keen to follow on this entire story as well and how that will evolve for you guys next year. Hiba, you were also Hiba. What am I talking about? Hiba, you were also part of this project together with Rosalie. Can you share as well? What was the sort of vision or what inspiration that you get from your perspective?
Yeah, so I am really interested in kind of making theatre accessible to people from different backgrounds. So I am a migrant myself, and I thought it would be really interesting for my community and for people who otherwise don't have access to theatre to have someone from their community, someone from the ethnic minorities to be leading this kind of project. So I thought it would be really interesting for them to see kind of a role model and to kind of give them the idea that you not only can access theatre and be a participant, but you can also be a leader in the world of art in general. So I really wanted to set up a role model for my community, and I was really interested in kind of meeting people from different backgrounds, speaking different languages, and, you know, learning about the different culture. It was and it has also been a very interesting process. And also, obviously, the partnership with different organizations. So, for example, I would have never have had the opportunity to work on animation or on creative writing before. I would have, well, without this kind of opportunity, I would have just been stuck in theatre and community theatre and arts. But this kind of project gave me the opportunity to explore different art forms and work with different organizations.
I really love that, how, you know, it's a journey, almost like a growth trajectory that you're having with the community, where, you know, Rosalie, you were talking about the whole inspiration behind it, and Hiba sharing about like your own learnings and findings as well. Ingrid, you know, since Rosalie was mentioning that React was actually just to dial things back a bit, so React was the first one, right, that happened before the RuPaul. So maybe share with us back then, what was the creative vision behind that?
I think one of the key things about when talking about our vision is that we can have a vision about what we want the project to look like, but what each artistic piece of theatre looks like. We always go in very open-minded, and I think that's really key to all of our work, is that it needs to evolve from the people that we are working with. And I think that was one thing that was so interesting with the pieces that we looked at with React in the film there, is that the group of Sudanese young men that created Lost Sheep, you know, we went in working with a group of refugees who we assumed would want to talk about their story, about their journeys, about the fact that they are refugees. But right from the very beginning, it was very clear that that group wanted to talk about things that are very different from that, things that they wanted to talk about, being neighbours in Sudan, about what life was like. They wanted to have fun. They wanted to create a fun story which showed a lot to the audience about their culture, but in a very fun and enjoyable way. And that was where the project evolved. So we had a vision at the beginning of the overall project, but the artistic piece changed very much. And with all of the projects we work on, and Rosalie and Hiba working on before now, the actual artistic project is always completely reliant on the people that create it. They have ownership. It's their story. It's their vision.
So, you know, Neil, I want to find out from you as well, because I think, you know, after hearing Acta's story and vision, I'm sure that a lot of other communities around the world would also want to see how we can enable such discussion, conversations, or theatre in our own communities as well. I think the situation on refugee and migration is very real in different parts of the world. So Neil, maybe can you share some challenges that, you know, you've met in your years of building Acta, and, you know, how did some learning points or takeaways for the rest of us, you know, who are keen to start something similar, or who are keen to follow the footsteps of Acta?
I think the biggest barrier, and is the same one that I faced as a young person, is that most people think that theatre isn't something that they are allowed to access. They may be allowed to access it as a performer, but certainly not as a creator or so people who feel that they can be an audience, but they don't think they can be a creator or a performer. And I think that often all you need to do is give the invitation and talk to people and say, actually, you know, you can do this. This isn't something that's ultra special, and you don't have to be a Hollywood actor to perform. And you certainly don't necessarily have to sit down with a pen and a piece of paper to write your story. You can do that through improvisation, through working with different people. So I think the barrier is definitely people don't think theatre is for them, and the solution is to explain that it is. And people don't feel I mean, everyone's got a story to tell. We always say this, but most people don't tell it because they don't think anyone's interested. And I think the thing that actors done successfully over the years is to go in and talk to individuals and communities, say, you know, tell us your story because we are interested and we think other people will be interested as well. And I think if I'm going to give any advice to anyone wanting to do this work, is go and talk to people and be interested and find out what it is they want to say, and then help them to say it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, can I just add to that? I think Neil said that really well. But just adding to that, I think it's listening to what their barriers are and responding to their need. And I think quite often with our groups, it might be that we need to think about where we hold the session, that often we go to them rather than expecting them to come to us. That there's different barriers. It might be childcare. It might be a group they're not comfortable with if it's mixed gender, they'd rather have it, whatever, that you kind of listen to and respond accordingly so that they can access it, whether they need the finances to travel to get there, whatever, and respond to it.
I think one of the biggest things we always say as facilitators is about being flexible and open to their needs. And I think particularly when working with migrant communities, it is going that extra way, as lots of things Ingrid was saying, little things, to text the night before, to text in the morning, to help to remind, and if someone's not there, to text to check they're okay. And it's constantly showing that love and care that you have for them and that they're important.
And I really like how sometimes, like what you were saying, it's in the small things, right? Even a text message or understanding the situation, if it's like what Ingrid mentioned, if it's child caring, right? If they can't come because there's no one to take care of the child, like even if it's understanding their personal barrier to coming to theatre would be very helpful. I really love that. And, I feel that all of you are using theatre as a means to integrate the community, right? By listening to their stories, giving them a platform to hear their stories. So, we just want to learn from your experiences. What are some of the stories that impacted you personally the most? That's something that, I would love to hear. Anyone has any stories that touched them, or your most memorable story that you've heard from the community?
For me, there was a mum who sort of came to Bristol and was very isolated. She was a survivor of domestic violence and has sort of fled her hometown, come to Bristol, was very isolated, and didn't really engage with any of the other women in her community. She started coming to one of our groups, gently persuaded by a community worker, started coming to one of our groups. And the transformation in her life when she connected with a group of other mums who all had children at the same school. And she continued with us and performed in 3 shows eventually, working with us for a few years. And the change in her confidence, the fact that she found a voice again, she found friends, and through us, she actually came and started working for us, went on a training course with us, and became a facilitator herself, and was not only able to find her own voice, she helped her community have a voice as well. And her journey was quite a staggering one. The change in her was quite amazing, and very memorable and very touching.
I think a story that's really held for me. So when we do projects, there's different ways. So sometimes we see the need and we will maybe approach that group, or sometimes people come to us. So it was probably maybe 5 years ago. I'm sure Ingrid will correct me if I'm wrong. Where there was a Somali mother who approached us, who'd seen one of our shows, and she had a son who's got autism, and she came to us saying, I want to create a show which builds awareness around autism in the Somali community, because at the moment it's a word that doesn't exist in our language. it's very frowned upon, and actually there's a very high rate of young people that do have autism. So she was already meeting with a group weekly of mothers who had children with autism. So Ingrid and I worked with that group for a number of months, and actually, as with a lot of performances or groups we do, not everybody wants to perform, but that's okay. So we had three to four performers, and they told the story of all of the women, and it was just a really powerful story. And actually, since then, she's continued to do so much work in the community around that topic. And it was another great example of getting, when you have theatre on stage that is relevant and appropriate to different communities, you get a totally different audience coming in to watch it as well. So that's always been a story. So that was Yusuf Can't Talk, which there's also a really nice documentary about that performance on our acta website as well, on our YouTube page, because it also ended up touring to Rotterdam as well.
Wow, that's incredible. And I think that shows the strength of community, not because it's driven by, always that one organization or one team, but when you enable the community to do this and create this ripple for them to start their own activities, because they would understand the gaps and the needs more than us were, because I'm in a community building as well, and sometimes it gets to a point where you're not sure if all this content is going out the right way, are we answering the right questions. But when you have community members coming in and say, hey, I'll lead this and I can do this, that's incredible. Neil, any stories from you?
Oh, I've got thousands, but
you can only pick one. You can only pick one.
I have worked since about 2007 with a group of women from the African Caribbean community in Bristol. They're now all in their sort of late 70s and 80s. They're called the Malcolm X Elders Group because they work at the Malcolm X Centre. So we've devised a play with them, which is about their experiences of coming from the Caribbean to England in the 1960s, and performed this show in various places and got a lot of reaction. And they're an utterly joyous group, and part of my memory is my utter love for them and how much fun they are and how much commitment they've got to their performance. But we took that show to an African Caribbean community centre in Gloucester, which isn't very far from Bristol, and performed it in the social club, where they'd never had a theatre show before, to an audience who very rarely went to theatre, all from the African Caribbean community. And they were telling the stories, that our elders theatre group were telling the stories that resonated to the people in the audience. They understood the stories because it was their lives as well. And there was just incredible response from the audience, who obviously had no idea what they were going to see and what theatre was, I suppose, or this sort of theatre. And it was just a totally joyous night of a whole bunch of people understanding and enjoying theatre that was relevant to them, that told their stories, and the joy on the faces of our elders and the amount of commitment and fun and energy they put into it. So yeah, it's a great night.
I would love to be part of that group and see everyone's faces and expressions.
Well, again, there's a film on the acta website of that group doing another show called Tiki Boom Boom. So have a look. Everyone should explore the website to look at all our films.
Sure. Okay. So for the audience that's listening in, please check out acta's website. I think we have already included it in all the links as well. Please explore and like take screen grabs and tell us about it, right? Or share it with your friends to get people to watch as well. Hiba, what about yourself? You were a participant, right? You watched. So what was the moments that made you feel, those goosebumps, or made you want to keep giving back to ACTA and being part of them right now?
I think I'm going to be a little bit selfish and talk about Dream On, which is the first show that I've kind of performed and took part in. And so Dream On is, I would say, is partly kind of a true story about myself. And it tells the story about the struggle, you know, of a young mom being in a new country, and the fact that all her kind of dreams and aspirations are really difficult to achieve. And I think the moment that kind of blew me away when I was on stage performing, and I found out that like half of the stage is filled with people from my own community coming to see me and to kind of listen of a story that is also a typical story in all communities, but they have never had the opportunity to kind of reflect it or share it with different communities. So I thought this was kind of a moment that's an instigator, you know, and it kind of really pushed me to, you know, work more with ACTA and help those communities having their voice heard.
And I think that's the very beginning of community integration, right? By giving voice to those that were less heard, and amplifying all these stories to let people that don't usually hear about these hear them. So I really, you know, I mean, I think this conversation can go on and on and on. Since you have so many different projects, it's like, I just feel that you're like naming projects after projects, and I'm like, okay, wait, I want to go check it out online. But unfortunately, we only have like limited time. So I do urge everyone, please go check ACTA out and follow them and follow their works as well. Because I truly believe that this form of work is crucial, especially in times like this that all of us are facing. So, you know, like something more future or forward looking, that question that I want to ask all of you on, you know, after doing so much work in community integration, migration, refugee works, what gives you hope? What keeps you going?
I think
so.
People. Oh, sorry.
No. I was gonna expand the question more. So, you know, you spoke about what moved you, right, to be part of ACTA, and then now it's like, what gives you hope? What keeps you going? Sorry, Rosalie, please continue.
Sorry. No, I was just saying, I think what gives me hope is the people we work with, because we just work with the most incredible, diverse, interesting people who have so many stories to tell, and they often have really tough, difficult lives, but they will always come to every session they come to. They always give it their absolute all, and I think that is at the heart of everything we do. It's for the people we work with, and without those people, we're nothing. So I think it's the people who give me the hope.
So, okay, everyone else can't use the same answer as Rosalie to pick something else. What gives you hope? Ingrid, do you want to go next?
I think I've always feel hopeful that there will always be more work like our type of work, because there's such a hunger for it, that people are so excited when they hear about what we do, and they're so enthusiastic to come and watch and see what we do. And I think after every audience leaves, that's a whole new group of participants that are really excited to work with us, that I feel our work kind of continues to grow, because there's a hunger for it, a need for it, and people, whenever they watch it, find out about it, they're desperate to be involved as well. So I feel we will be here for a long time.
It's the new stories and the new communities, right, that needs to your presence. Hiba, for yourself?
Yeah, I think the same. The people and their commitment. I'm just going to mention very, very briefly that about 3-4 weeks ago, we had to cancel. Well, we were thinking about cancelling one of our report sessions because one of us had to self-isolate, and we just suggested to the members of the group that we are going to potentially cancel our sessions, and all of them were no, were saying, no, we can do it on Zoom. Let's all do it on Zoom. So I thought that moment really gave me hope that this, this group is really committing to, to attending every single session. And I think that was really a very interesting moment, and it will always give me hope to kind of work with them and different groups.
So to Neil, it will be slightly a bit different, because I also understood that after 35 years, you'll be leaving ACTA. So, my question to you is, what is your hope? So pressure's on the new team, the current team. What will be your hope for ACTA, and what do you aspire ACTA to become in the next 35 years and beyond?
I think that Ingrid's quite right to talk about the need for our work, and I don't think that need ever goes away. And I think, to be honest, in the current times, it's quite hard to see hope, and I think a lot of people really struggle to see hope that the pandemic, is raging across the world. And I think there's going to be more need for ACTA, even more need for ACTA in the future, and for the sort of work that we do, because people are going to need to come together, and people are going, I think we've learned a lot about common humanity over the last 18 months, and I think that it's going to be more important to have those places where we can talk and make connections and create things. So my hope is that that need for ACTA to exist will be recognised by the people who hold the purse strings, and that we will be able to acquire the amount of funding we need to develop the organisation to do even more work. My other hope, I think, isn't so much as a hope as a feeling of I'm feeling quite content that I'm leaving after 35 years, which is a long time to be doing one thing, that the company is in safe hands, and that there's a strong team of committed workers, people who act as an extraordinary group of people who are very, very good at what they do, but also are full of empathy and care and love for the people we work with. So I don't think I need to hope, because I think that's sort of definite that's going to continue and that's going to be there. So yeah.
I think I can feel this sense of hopefulness after listening to all three of you. The reason why I asked that question, also fully agree with you, Neil. I think humanity has faced this crazy crisis in the last couple of months, and I feel that we do need hope, especially hope from people like your team that's so much on the ground, working so hard to integrate communities, drive impact on the vulnerable community amongst us. So I think the last question that I have for all of you, understanding that, the people, the communities that need you gives you hope. Then I want to also use this opportunity for your team to shout out to the community, right? What can we do to help you? What kind of barriers are in your way? And how would you like us, the community, to come together to do more to enable organizations like yourself?
I think communicating and talking is key to all of it. I think it's being aware of what there is out there and talking to each other. And I think, platforms like this are fantastic so that the word gets out there more and more. And I think sharing each other's work and talking about each other's work is key to all of it.
Yeah, and I think, the one positive, I guess, that's come out of this situation is that we have been able to do a lot more international work than we've ever been able to. Our seminars, which you used to have to come down to the ACTA Centre for, are now happening online. So people that are watching today, you can actually tune in now to our seminars online. Workshops that we're doing that used to be in places in Bristol are now happening online. So actually, you know, a positive that's come out of this is we can work much more internationally. And I think we should really make the most of these opportunities. And, you know, at the moment, you know, the world is bonded by something really negative and horrible that's happening, but actually let's use the opportunity to bond by something really positive and create more international work for the future. So I'd say to everyone watching, you know, please do follow acta on all our social medias, because we'll be putting lots of different things out that actually you can get involved with, which, you know, last year probably wouldn't have been the case in the same way. So let's stay internationally connected, do my thing.
Really good advice, internationally connected. I fully agree, especially how technology has enabled a lot of communications like these as well. So communication, not just in our own communities, but also internationally. Hiba, what about yourself? What is like one call that you wish, or a wish list for the community?
Yeah, so same as Rosalie and Ingrid have mentioned, you know, just staying connected, finding out about all the different opportunities, you know, happening around you locally or in your country or even internationally.
In particular, maybe I'm gonna just dive in a bit, because I also understand that you created the Sudanese Youth Theatre, like how you mentioned. So for the youths, you know, for the youth of our generation, what is one wish that you have for them? How can they, you know, what would you advise them to do in their own communities if they're interested in something like what acta has been doing?
Sorry, are you asking the question to me, or is that to everyone?
No, I'm asking you because you're the one that led the, I'm sorry, you're the one that led the youth theatre group. So, you know, I think other than communications and international collaborations, I think youth involvement has also been peaking. So how can we better engage the youth from your perspective?
I think by, I would say definitely giving them the chance. So increase the work with the different organization and the different partnerships, you know, we're creating partnerships with schools, with youth clubs, and really giving the young people the opportunity to participate, to explore. I know for so many young people, it's really hard to kind of engage in drama or creative opportunities in general, but you know, by encouraging and by reaching out to the different organizations and the different bodies working with them, that might really help. Well, and the parents as well, that might really help them to engage.
Okay, and for you, Neil, other than financial call, right, for people with with money to support causes like yourself, you know, who's driving so much impact within the communities, what else is your wish list for our community and listeners of the session?
I think that anyone who wants to and feels the desire to make theatre in their communities and tell their stories should be encouraged to do that, and feel encouraged. Don't feel that you need to wait around to have someone's permission to make theatre and tell your stories. That's really important that you get on and do that. And I'm sure that if you want any advice on how to approach it, then come to acta, and someone will be very, very keen to give you advice and tell you how to go about it. We will be putting out some videos later on, probably next year now, about how we do the work that we do. And the other thing is, I just wanted to carry on from what Ingrid and Rosalie both said about how important communication is, and also how important internationalism is. And I think the Global Migrant Festival is a fantastic idea. We are not, you know, we're connected in so many ways, and keeping connected is very important. And you can have partnerships without getting on a plane, as we have discovered through our experience with Rapport. And we should all remember that. And it's really important to share work and work together and learn from each other. I think it is the most important thing.
Truly, I fully agree, and that's why you know, I think having all of you today with us, sharing your learnings, your journeys, this is truly great for the community, for us to, like, you know, be inspired for ideas within our own local communities as well. So I think that's all the time that we have for today, unfortunately. But to echo what Neil has said and what Ingrid has said about communication, please stay connected with acta via, you know, you can head over to their website and or social media as well. You're on Facebook. Maybe you list the kind of is it all on your website?
Yeah, and we're on Twitter as well, Instagram, Facebook.
Yes, so,
everywhere.
So, okay, we can find you no matter what. So just head over its website. It's www.acta-bristol.com. I believe we'll also be inserting this in, you know, you can find the links in all our collaterals as well. So thank you so much. We really appreciate all four of you and your time today. And really, thank you so much for the work that you're driving in your community. Not just in UK, right, and also, you know, moving towards an international network of stories. So we hope that this will inspire more of our community, the audience, to partner with you guys and do update us how, you know, Rapport's project will turn out with this midst of, like, with this no flight situation that we all face. Do update us, and we're excited for your journey as well. So once again, thank you very much. Thank you for all your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Bye.
you. So this is all the time we have. Thank you all so much. Please also follow us on the Global Migrant Festival. There's tons of programs and content lined up for all of you. Please feel free to join us, engage with us, engage with amazing people from acta as well. So do tweet, share, talk about us, and let us know how you feel. So yes, and that's all the time we have. Thank you so much for today.